think we can start. So good morning, everyone. First off, I'd like to begin by acknowledging the land on which we gather and which the region of Peel operates as part of the treaty lands and territories of the Mississaugas of the Credit. For thousands of years, Indigenous peoples inhabited and cared for this land. In particular, we acknowledge the territory of the Anishbek, Huron-Wendat, Haudenosaunee, and Ojibwe-Chippewa peoples, the land that is home to the Métis, and most recently, the territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, who are direct descendants of the Mississaugas of the Credit. And we're grateful to have the opportunity to work on this land, and by doing so, give our respect to its first inhabitants. So my name is Amanjeet Kalan, and I am the Manager of Operations at Punjabi Community Health Services. And today I'm joined by Amandeep Kaur, who is the Chief Operating Officer at Punjabi Community Health Services. And our presentation today is on serving newcomers through an integrated holistic service delivery model. Just a brief overview of what we'll be talking about today. Sorry, Arash, could you please take it back 2 slides? Perfect, thank you. So we'll just be going about, we'll be talking about PCHS in general for those of you who may not have heard about Punjabi Community Health Services. Some of the services we offer, the 5 phases of culture shock, using the integrated holistic service delivery model, easing access to mental health services, and then shifting from cultural competency to anti-racism, anti-Black racism, and an anti-oppression focus. So a little bit about PCHS. We started in 1990 as the Punjabi Community Health Project. It was a 3-year project around conducting studies within the South Asian community around the effects of alcoholism. In October 1995, PCHS became incorporated as a nonprofit community-based agency. And in April of 2010, we became a registered charitable organization. Our mission is to improve the well-being of the individuals, families, and communities using an anti-racism and anti-oppression framework. Our vision is to have healthy and thriving diverse communities, and we're accredited by CARF International and Imagine Canada. CARF International is the Commission on Accreditation of Rehabilitation Facilities. Our core values are inclusion, accountability, excellence, and innovation. And we have 3 strategic priorities as per our new strategic plan that we finalized this year, which is to lead to facilitate community potential, expand impact, and propel system change. All of PCHS's programs and services are funded by Central West Lynn and Mississauga Halton Lynn, the Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada, Ministry of Children, Community, and Social Services, the Citizenship and Immigration Division, by the Ontario Community Support Association, Region of Peel, and the United Way of Greater Toronto. So some of our programs and services that we offer at PCHS. So we offer a mental health program. And under our mental health program, we provide one-on-one supportive counseling, psychoeducational support group, long and short-term case management, early psychosis intervention, and concurrent disorders and peer support. So just a little bit more about each of these. So within long-term case management, this program is offered to clients who are 16 years or older. Under this program, we provide supports to individuals and their family members for mental health and related issues. Clients are welcome to stay within the program on a long-term basis until the client's needs have been met, and we accept referrals from all sources. With the early psychosis intervention program, this is a case management program that offers support to individuals who require early intervention support for the first episode of psychosis or mental health concerns within the past 2 years. And we offer services to clients between the ages of 14 to 37 years, and we accept referrals from all sources as well for this program. Our concurrent disorders support group is a linguistically and culturally appropriate psychoeducational group program, and it aims to educate and support individuals and their caregivers to cope with the challenges that they're facing as a result of their mental health and addiction issues. An important part of this program also is our peer support program, which is also a built-in component with all of our programs and services, which I'll touch on a bit in the upcoming slides. Similarly, with our addictions programs as well, we offer one-on-one supportive counseling, psychoeducational support group. We have a relapse prevention group as well for majority of our clients. And again, we provide long and short-term case management. We have a bridging addictions counseling program, opioids prevention program, and an addictions day program for our clients as well. And our geriatrics program is geared towards seniors of the ages of 55 plus. Within this program, we offer caregiver support for those individuals who are providing care to seniors, and they need that break from providing care. So we have caregiver support workers that go in, they'll conduct educational sessions, and they'll provide a bit of relief for a caregiver to just take a break from providing care to their loved ones. And then our respite care program, we do have workers who are able to go in and provide respite services to seniors. We run daily seniors wellness groups. We also have a behavioral support program, which offers services to those individuals that are suffering from dementia and other related mental health issues. And then again, an important part for this is our peer support program. Our settlement services are geared around providing information and referral. We also offer a community connection program under our Newcomer Connections program. We provide child minding to those individuals who are seeking services on site. We have a crisis support program as well for those newcomers that are facing an immediate crisis. And then we are currently offering link classes at our Brampton location in partnership with Peel Multicultural Council. We recently were able to secure a position of a youth worker who will be conducting workshops and drop-in programs with youth within the Peel region. And we're offering a capacity building program this year as well around mental health and settlement. In our family enhancement program, we offer one-on-one supportive counseling for those individuals who are going through conflicts with their significant other. An important component of this is conflict resolution, life skills development, and we offer a support group for our clients once a month as well under this program. And the majority of our services are geared around education and awareness. The Better Families program is a program geared towards youth mental health for youth age 12 years and over. It's also a program that helps parents deal with child conflict, any behavioral issues that they may be experiencing with their youth. And an important component of it is bridging the cultural gaps between parents and youth. So we offer monthly parenting sessions, a weekly youth group for the youth. And again, two critical components of this program are life skills development and education and awareness. Peer support, volunteers, and student placement. So as I mentioned earlier, the peer support program that we offer is geared towards all of our programs. So we recruit, screen, and train those individuals that have lived experience, either as a caregiver or a care receiver. They can be also foreign trained individuals who have experience within mental health, addictions, or taking care of seniors as well. And this program is geared towards matching a peer support volunteer with a client who is ready to move on from receiving counseling services and are on a road to recovery, but need that additional support. And a part of this program that we've seen that really benefits our clients is that they have that ability to connect with someone that has that lived experience. As part of the peer support program, we've also included volunteer opportunities for those individuals who would be looking to get some experience working at our front desk, or they would like to assist PCHS in any events or other with group facilitation with our seniors. Student placements, we take ongoing students throughout the year to help with all of our programs. We give them experience within counseling, administration, and as part of their learning objectives, we ensure that they also take part in community outreach activities. So we'll be discussing the 5 phases of culture shock with you. The model that we thought best fit sort of what PCHS uses in their service delivery is a model that the World Relief Durham has put together. So the 5 phases that are outlined here are from World Relief Durham. Amandeep?
Sure. Okay. Hello, everybody. I would encourage everyone, please feel free to add your questions or any comments you have. And that's something we will address once we finish our presentation. So please feel free to ask us questions or any comments. So in terms of cultural shock, when someone lands in Canada, so that's the first phase is honeymoon phase, because coming from a different country, Canada is a land of opportunities. And what happens is that people are very excited. They come with different expectations, like in terms of once we land, we know that Canada is, there will be a job, there will be a nice life, everything, and they enjoy those moments to the most. And then it becomes like kind of their honeymoon phase. And what happens next is once they start living the real life, they step into the actual life on day-to-day basis, and that then they start feeling rejection. Like in terms of, say, if someone coming, I can use example of myself. I came as a dietitian from a cancer hospital. Then when you land and then you go for a dietitian job, you feel rejection because you say your credentials are not there. You are trained in a different country. And then you feel like, oh my God, I was doing way better back home. And now I have to deal with all this. I have to go back to school and everything. Housing becomes a very difficult component. And of course, you are missing your family. Then everything that you are missing start hitting you. And with all this, you feel like some people go into depression, and they just feel like left alone, because wherever they go, the jobs are even different, like even entry level jobs, the frontline jobs. There are certain etiquettes, like in Canada, there is an appointment system. There is a help seeking behaviors are so different. Back home, the culture is so different. So they go through this phase, and that's where our settlement services kick in. If they get the right person, and that's where our newcomer settlement services, once they start receiving the services, then they start the regression phase. And it all depends on how the services, the community they live in, provide access. Access to the services is critical. So once they go into the services, and then at Punjabi Community Health Services, because we have integrated holistic service delivery model, and that's where we seen our success for over 20 years, that how the newcomer services fit well with the integration. We just can't say, okay, today we are just helping you with your information or orientation, and this is where you can go apply for your SIN number. This is where you can go apply for a job. Like there are various programs at various level, but the newcomers are in crisis phase. It may not be crisis to us, because to them, every little thing is crisis. And then at PCHS, we have put together a complete orientation package, which includes the services that Amanjit outlined. It has services from all departments, as we run in three different sites, but we try And this is our best practice, that we provide all services under one roof. We don't want clients to drive to our locations or go to our transportation is the biggest barrier. We know that while we are working in this field. And then our staff go where the client is, because our goal is to how can we help client through this regression phase. So we designed a model. It's called Meet Me Where I Am. And with this model, we encourage clients, and at this stage, our thing is that how we can motivate our client, how can we make the newcomer refugees feel that yes, you are part of this country. And our settlement workers are walk them through the orientation package. Some people, while you are in the rejection phase, you are also dealing with the other mental health addiction issues. So we have crisis support, which is funded by IRCC, but it's a short-term crisis support. But then they need longer-term care. They are connected with the regression phase is longer, because that's where we build clients' trust. We build the rapport with the client. We build clients, empower the client on at that phase, and make sure the client is connected to all the required resources, because they don't know, coming from a different country. And now Canadian, it's not only the big buildings are bigger shock for them. Entering the building, there is system for everything, but this country is rules and like rules oriented. There are rules for everything. But if you take many back home countries, like for example, I am from India, there are more rights. And in this country, even trees has rights. If you cut the tree, you can see the consequences. Right? So that's where education from like ABC, from right from alphabets, that settlement counselor comes in, and depending on what age group that newcomer falls under. Like if they are an adult, then they are connected with based on their needs. Sometimes majority of the clients we see are seniors, they are newcomers. It's not only the language barrier is a barrier, we are talking about the culture shock. So language is one bigger piece, transportation is another bigger piece, housing is another, employment is another. But then you are missing back home, you forget about everything, right? So that's the regression phase. And under our integrated holistic service delivery model, which I will be talking in the next slide, that how we wrap around the services around the newcomers so that they feel they belong. So on regression phase, at phase 3, it is our prime responsibility as a health service provider and provider to the newcomers and refugees to Canada, that make sure that the people feel that they belong. Once they are at the regression phase, they are strengthened, they know about the resources, they are connected with the services. We provide the services under one roof. So from there, then it becomes their norm then. And that's they feel that there is somebody and we can get settled and there is a future for us. Then the recovery phase starts. So that's where they start then going into the community, like, and using the transit system, using the healthcare system, the navigation of the system. It's we just can't ask them to go navigate the system themselves. We do hand holding for them, and then a warm referral. When I say warm referral, that it's not that just okay, here is another service, go there. But as part of our accreditation, our staff is trained that make sure and follow through that, yes, the person is connected to the service so they don't fall through the crack. And once they are established, and then we connect them with our newcomer connection program. And that's where the recovery phase starts. And it's also funded by the IRCC. So the newcomer connection program is our staff recruit and train the immigrants and citizens who are well established, who came as a newcomer to Canada. And then now they are ready to help others. And then we train them and recruit the newcomers and match them with a well-established immigrant who knows, or a citizen who are willing, they are ready to give back to the community. And the recovery phase starts when they feel they are not alone and they are connected with the not only with the services but also another peer, and we make sure they are connected. And at this stage, the newcomer is ready to give back. We hold their hand until then, and that's where we uh, preserve everything. A person may become they become accustomed to the new system. If they need to go back to school, they have all those roads, and then they move on with their life. So this is at PCHS how we walk our newcomer through the five phases of cultural shock, and so that they are settled and they feel that yes, we have a country that we vision for. Next slide, please. So this is the model we use, and this model we use in every service, and I will walk you through with the example. So of a newcomer, once there is entry level, our the reception area, we make sure that the language the newcomers speak, if they are not well versed, and majority of the clients we get, English is not their first language, and language most of the time is a barrier. So our receptionist do the first intake and make sure that the person, they have the required information, so they are connected to the right department. And that's where the screening takes place. Once the newcomer is screened, then they receive a complete orientation package. We try to make it not overwhelming. We try walk through them through the phases. They see the people who look like them. Majority of our staff belongs to the diverse communities, and they see that there is someone speaking their language. And then the intake is not the first step. After screening and orientation, the intake of the client, and if there is family involved. And that's the key piece in our services. We are family centered service. So that intake, and after that intake, the assessment phase takes place, and that's where a counselor help the client to identify where their real needs are. Once their needs are identified, then their care plan is developed. After developing the care plan, the implementation phase starts. Again, there is such a thing in this country when we privacy and confidentiality. So it takes a while when we introduce this and let the client know that yes, you are here to receive the service. They'll say, okay, so and so is at home, so can you also do the application for that person? And this is our real opportunity to educate them at privacy and confidentiality and the consent, everything. It's not easy for them to take from us. But again, this is something, it's our time to educate them, because you have made a bigger shift leaving your back home country, coming here. This country has rules and regulations which we all must abide by. So all this thing happens, and the care plan is implemented depends in which area that care plan is. So that case manager gets involved with the integration service delivery model. We use that, and then the transition. So what happens in this all stages of from entry level to the development of care plan, we see that housing is the key need for a newcomer or refugee. Then transportation comes in. Then, of course, the financial need of them. Some has don't even know they are diabetic. They need help with uh, uh, the medical care system and also dietitian. Some has mental health issues. Some has do not know now how the education system works, and now they come here with a teenager and another cultural shock, and this education system is so complex. um, all these services, then sometimes it gives the results to family conflict, and then some people start drinking more because they can deal with the pain. So our role under this model to make sure the client's needs are identified and they are connected with all the needs they have within the system, and also explain how the Canadian system works. Next question, next slide, please. So this is the key when we how to accessibility of services, and is very complex. It's not only transportation and language. It's the help seeking, the timing. People are working 9 to 5 on their survival jobs. Now our services are open 9 to 5. So at PCHS, what we have seen serving newcomers, we need to be flexible. If we need to see is our worldview is met that our staff works 9 to 5, or it's about the clients fitting into the client's needs. So when we hire staff, the staff must be available late evening appointments when the clients are available, or weekend appointments. So it's our job as health service providers to make the easy accessibility to the services. If they can't access the service, how can we help them? So language and culture are major parts, but even before that comes the timing of the appointment. And then it's education of them about privacy and confidentiality. If we cover all these 6 points, timing, availability of the services when the clients are available, in their culture and language, and understanding the circle of care and privacy and confidentiality. Once the newcomer walks through all these six steps and they understand, then they accept this, then the treatment phase starts. If we cannot overcome the accessibility phase, we can't do anything. We will complete the application, but we won't be able to give them the care they actually need to get settled in this country. So especially in the mental health services, it is stigma already. Like if we have seen it's going a lot, like who doesn't have, like all have physical health, we have mental health too. So with all that, we work with the client in such a way based on their culture, that it's their illness, and who identifies it. We can't label it. So our goal is to make sure that based on their illness, they are educated about the services of a psychiatrist and also connected within the healthcare system. In the mental health, we have seen, and it's been proven and best practice that if the family is engaged, the recovery and the treatment and recovery both are better. But involvement of family, then our privacy and confidentiality, clients are not ready. So all those things are taken, and that this becomes part of the case management. And once you have mental illness, you don't come with one illness alone. It has other complex needs. Your job is suffering, your family is suffering, you might have some addiction issues as well. So your financial needs, everything, it's a complex need. And we just can't say that, okay, we are only here to give you a counseling session on what is depression, and you are suffering this, and these are the techniques. This is not how it works. What is working well under the integrated holistic service delivery model to come at the client's level and take into consideration the complex needs of the client. Does it fit within our 1 hour counseling session? Sometimes not. So that's where your organization's policies come in. That do you allow your staff and provide the resources to your staff that they can spend more than an hour with the client, or meet where the client is at? So all this part becomes part of the treatment. If we are successful with the access and providing the treatment, only then the recovery phase start. And that's where Amanji talked about the peer support program. Our goal is to not leave them alone, because we can keep them in service for certain number of months or sessions, and there comes time when it ends, but it doesn't mean that they are fully stable. So we create conditions that they come to the support group, not for one-on-one counseling, or they join the peer support or program. So this is how we make sure, especially in addictions, we have relapse prevention. So it's not hard to quit. You quit every day. Like if someone is alcoholic, you quit every day that this is my last drink. But question is not quitting. It is quitting and remaining sober over a longer period of time. And that's where our relapse prevention group, which we run every Friday evening, and that's our commitment. That's identified by people who use alcohol and drugs, that the time when we get relapsed is Friday after they finish their job shift and they are not able to go back to work on Monday. So that's where our support groups, relapse prevention groups, everything. And because our staff work in as an integration team, so they make sure if the client is in settlement and also in addictions or in mental health, so they are well connected. So there are case conferences over the period of time the client stays in the care. So this is where we try to make easy access to our services. Next slide, please. So that's the big shift we have made at Punjabi Community Health Services. For a number of years, I would say over a decade or more, our focus was to build the capacity of mainstream organizations about cultural competency. We have provided endless number of trainings all over the province. Our PCHS is well known in diversity, cultural competency, but now what is happening is the training, cultural competency training is not doing the job. It is a training, but unless and until your policies and procedures and buy-in at um, the management level, you can make the shift. You can complete your documentation. Our staff received the cultural competency training. Now they are well versed. We hired a staff who speak the Polish language, who speak Punjabi language. We are culturally competent. It's very good for documentation. But if you do not allow your staff to see the client over the weekend, you say, no, we have only 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and now your clients can't fit in with those timings, then have you made a shift at the management level that, or a policy, yes, staff can provide care after hours? So this is cultural competency is one thing. It's not about only learning about the food and the costumes of different cultures. That's not only the cultural competency. Now PCHS is moved to anti-racism, anti-oppression framework. What we have done at our agency, because we have our new strategic plan, which is from 2020 to 2023, it is one of our strategic direction. Say, for example, our CEO moves on. We don't want our anti-racism, anti-oppression portfolio just move on with him. So that's where there is buy-in from the board of directors. And it's very important, unless and until there is buy-in from board of directors and the senior management, it becomes impossible for the frontline staff to implement those. So in anti-racism at PCHS, we hired first youth worker from the Black community. So because the community approached me, the area we are located in, Brampton, Malton, there is diversity. It's South Asians, you name it, every community is here. The black community approached us. They said, we are fluent in English. Language is not a barrier for us, but we have other cultural barriers. And we are now in the process of hiring a settlement counselor from the Black community so that person can help and understand the needs of those clients. And this is what we have seen over the past 30 years, that if you understand the cultural needs, not only the costumes and food, you perform better. So from that point of view, PCHS has now moved on hiring just from the South Asian background, because South Asian itself is a diverse culture. You can name it Muslims, Tamils, Punjabis, Hindus, like it's Christians, it's so much diversity within diversity. So that's where now we are looking at expanding, and it's our strategic direction, and it is also the board is on it, and it will live with us, and even our CEO moves on. The management will implement the anti-racism, anti-oppression. Like for example, the anti-oppression, if I see there is some preference within the South Asian community, there is a research on that. And caste system is another one. We are working with our community so that they understand that what is anti-oppression. They are not supposed to, it's not norm for them. It is something, look at the new environment, the anti-Black racism. So we all are in this together, and we must um, uh, implement those strategies and work together to come up with these, what is anti-racism for every race. So in COVID-19, like in the region of PL where we are at, there is less COVID-19 testing done by the South Asian community. And there is a research produced by the Peel Public Health. So where are the gaps? There are gaps. Who is getting more testing than the others? And COVID-19 is hitting all of us the same way. So we all have, our blood color is red, our skin color is different. Like we can't say that if you are from different color or your blood color is green. It's not that. The biological needs are same. So why then there is anti-racism? Like why there is even a need for anti-racism? That's where sometimes as human beings, it's time for us to think. So, and this shift is must. And at PCHS, we are looking at that we are not doing justification to our newcomers. If we are not looking at the race and the oppression and the culture, everything. So it is time. And if there is senior management in the participants, I am really requesting, please sit back and think, is your policies are reflecting all this? Is your organization ready? And that's what in next slide, Amanjit will explain us that the shift we have made at PCHS, moving into different directions, recognizing the different races, and why can't we treat everybody? So that's now we are working with our staff to change your mindset from serving only one race. It's everybody, because the people who are funded the organizations through their local lens, it's your EMSA, your sectoral accountability agreement tells you that you don't turn down anybody, you serve everyone, and you sign that agreement. And then why can't we create our services, our platform, which is welcoming to everyone? So that's the shift we are looking from cultural competency to anti-racism, anti-oppression. So next slide, please. Amanjit?
Yep. So some of the initiatives that here at PCHS that we've undergone are, so we're working alongside agencies and grassroots organizations that are Black-led or providing services to the community. One such agency that we're working with is Free for All Foundation. So Free for All Foundation identified that they have clients who are seniors and belong to the Black community, but they don't have a place to meet and hold their group programs. So what we were able to do is looking at obviously the programs that we're currently running and identifying timings where we can provide our program space to Free for All Foundation, and they're able to send staff over and then use our space once a week for about 4 hours, and they're able to provide a wellness program geared towards the community. We've been working alongside grassroots organizations to build their capacity in terms of writing grants and proposals so that they can take on additional projects, secure funding for equipment and capital costs. And in some instances where these grassroots organizations are not able to secure funding because they're not a charitable organization, we're willing to be the fund holder for them. We're able to take care of some of the administration portion and do the reporting on their behalf, but allow them the ability to deliver their programs that are geared towards the communities that they're serving. We've also been joining in on discussions at local, provincial, and at the national level. Anytime there's any discussion around housing, poverty reduction, easing the access for services in terms of addictions and mental health to other communities within the region of Peel. We've been collaborating there. There are organizations in Toronto and other parts of Ontario that have seen an influx of South Asian newcomers, and they do contact us as well to help sort of guide them in providing services with a cultural competent lens. We've also joined on as part of a member of the 2SL LGBTQ Collaborative of Peel. This collaborative is working towards highlighting the service gaps within the region of Peel when it comes to providing services to the 2SL LGBTQ community. Through some of the work conducted as part of this collaborative, we identified that members of the community prefer to go to Toronto to access services just due to the stigma around service access, and also it's very stigmatized to access services in Peel. That's how they felt. And so we're working as part of the collaborative to see how we can ease the access and reduce the amount of stigma that the residents are feeling, especially with newcomers that are coming. We've been working to help reduce. We've been helping, to ensure that they're able to access services instead of having to go all the way to Toronto. We're part of a committee. This is a recent project to address lateral violence within the South Asian community. And tonight, we're actually hosting our first seminar, which will be addressing lateral violence, but also taking a look at how the South Asian community can come together and be a part of the anti-Black racism movement, and also shed light on some of the barriers that exist within the system. We're working on providing space to the Indigenous community to run programming and services as well. Recently, we acquired an additional unit within at our office space in Brampton, which we hope to turn into a community hub. This project was 6 years in the making. We finally were able to secure space. We have a collaborative for this called the Brampton Springdale Network, which consists of about almost close to 20 agencies, which have offices all around Peel, but are unable to maybe parachute into Brampton North, which was an underserved community. So by accessing our space and being part of this collaborative, they can be part of this community hub and deliver services. At the same time, we've reached out to grassroots organizations that might not be able to afford space to take part of as part of this community hub to provide additional projects and other programs that as agencies we're not able to. We've also done a knowledge and cultural exchange among diverse communities. about 2 years ago, we had successfully done a knowledge exchange between South Asian seniors and the Indigenous community. We had Elder Kat Krager come and run a series of workshops with our seniors. He took them on field trips, introduced a lot of concepts and provided a lot of historical background, and was able to bridge the effects of colonization between the Indigenous community and what South Asians faced back home in India. So as Amandeep mentioned, we've also implemented this shift as part of our strategic plan. And this year we've focused on providing training and education for staff as well. We're looking to bring in external trainers for helping to provide additional training to our staff. And we're also working with some of the agencies within Peel region that can help with our shift. And we're looking to diversify our program, as Amandeep has mentioned. We're looking to hire additional members from various communities, not only just within the settlement sector, but in all of our programs at PCHS. And that's just a couple of the things that we're doing. We're near the end of the presentation now, and we're gonna open up for any questions that you might have. So I'm gonna just switch this over. Arash, would you be able to enable the questions, please? If you have any questions, can you please use the Q&A option at the bottom of your toolbar there? I see a hand raised in the attendees. If you can just, if you have a question, if you could type it into that Q&A box there. Perfect. Okay, so the first question is, can you please explain more about your peer support program? Are there any specific requirements for the volunteers? And how many partners do you have at the moment? So a bit more about the peer support program is that we actually have two programs. That one of them is the peer support program, which is geared towards our mental health, addictions, and geriatrics programs. And within those programs, the peer supports usually are volunteers that have lived experience as either caregivers or care receivers. Within our addictions program, we do request that anyone that wants to be a peer support volunteer that has lived experience with addictions issues would have been sober for about 2 years, so that they also don't relapse. Anyone that has lived experience with mental health, and we also ensure that that individual is working with our peer support coordinator, so that while they're providing support to anyone, that they also don't get triggered. There is a rigorous training component for our peer support volunteers. They have to attend about almost a full day's training, where they'll go through, I wouldn't say necessarily training around counseling, but more so on how to be an active listener, identifying signs when it comes to an individual getting triggered. Then there's a whole series on do's and don'ts and responsibilities for the volunteers. At the current moment, we have 13 peer support volunteers that are recruited, and they can take on as up to 2 to 3 clients at a time. You've asked how many partners do we have at the moment. Could you clarify that, if that's partners in terms of agencies involved with us or just volunteers that we have? And in the meantime, I'll move on to the next question, which is,
so I also like to add what Amanjeet said about the peer support program. We have a peer support program coordinator. That's the key component in the peer support program, because they are peer support volunteers. So that the coordinator's role is about the recruitment training. Each peer support volunteer, before they start their peer support role at PCHS as a volunteer, they go through 40 hours of training. And the person who is matched with a peer support is matched with a client also has a caseworker. So the peer support coordinator and the caseworker, they work as a team so that the client's needs are met. So what is happening with all this is, once the peer support volunteer involvement start with a stable client, uh, then it frees up the time of the caseworker to pick up more clients, because the intervention they were providing to the client weekly, then bi-weekly, now they feel my client is stable but still need help. Peer support volunteer fills the gap of the intervention that client was receiving on weekly basis. So the peer support coordinator makes sure that those uh, things are all streamlined, and make sure the privacy, confidentiality, client consent, all guidelines are met. So it's comprehensive program, and we did pilot for 2 years. After pilot, we received the core funding for that, and now it is our core, one of the core programs at peer support. But definitely you just can't have volunteers without a leader. So we definitely need a coordinator, and that's our peer position. Um,
And I'd just like to add that the volunteers also have to have a vulnerable sector police clearance before they can join as a
yeah.
peer support volunteer. Amandeep, I think you could best answer this part next. What is the role of language assessment in your integrated model?
Yeah, I think our colleague has also mentioned that in terms of partners, as in volunteers and clients, and how many partners do we have? Amanjit, how many, because you supervise this program, so how many volunteers are there and how many clients are matched? Do you have
We, ha-
any number of
we
stats?
have 13 fully trained peer support volunteers right now that can be deployed currently. Um, Based on just the number of clients that have accessed it. For the last 2 months, we've had 5 individuals get help, but anywhere at any time, we can have all of our peer support volunteers engaged with at least 2 clients each. So at any time, anywhere from 20 to 23 clients would be engaged.
Okay. So next question, what is the role of language assessment in the integrated holistic service delivery model? This is a very good question. So in the language department, we have a um, intake worker and coordinator. That's the position title. For the link, once a client comes in for settlement services and expressed a need for the language services, then this intake coordinator in the language department completes that intake and connects the client with the assessment center. So once that assessment is, it's all system based. It's on she the this our staff has access to the heart system, and then once the client's assessment is completed and say you are at level 1, 2, 3, or 4, then that client is picked up from that list, and is their child minding needs. So it again, it's an integrated work. So then that client is connected and enrolled into the link program. We access the services of our partner agencies to complete the language assessment. We do not do language assessment at PCHS, but we work very closely uh, for this, for the language assessment. I hope this answers, and if there is anything else, please feel free to ask.
So, I mean, if the same individual has asked, how do you incorporate circle of care into the language assessment of the client?
Let me see. Okay, so language assessment is part of other identified needs by the client. For example, if a client has the housing needs, also there is teenage behavior issues. So they are a part of circle of care. Same time, they do not, they have very limited language and they need help with English language. It, in terms of when you identify the needs of the clients, language assessment also becomes one identified need, and then the appropriate staff works on that need. So it's like the other needs, it is also one need out of many needs, and it's addressed the similar way other needs are addressed. Sometimes you need to prioritize what needs to be addressed first, mental health or versus language. Or sometimes both go hand in hand because the person is lonely at home and now needs to come out. Actually, language assessment and enrollment into the language classes becomes part and parcel of the circle of care.
The next one is, are you able to speak more about your life skills program? So what does that entail? And do you have resources you can share? I believe that would be under for family enhancement, the life
Yes,
skills
yes,
component that we do.
sure. You want me to take this on, Amanjeet?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, you can.
Uh, like we have a program under mental health and addictions that another component is family enhancement. It is basically, we named it family enhancement, but a majority of the time it deals with the domestic violence cases. uh, then there are gaps in the life skills. Our program coordinator, who is the family enhancement case manager, she works with that particular client and help them where what skills are required to live a happy, healthy life, for example. And then she develops the care plan and work on those skills. Sometimes they don't, life skills, for example, the child rearing in Canada, how it is different from child rearing say in India, because I'm from India, it's easier for me to use that example. So that then the life, in terms of life skills, how do you communicate with your child versus discipline the child? Um, Disciplining child, sometimes your child reading practices are that you can yell and scream and you can also slap at the same time, but it has zero tolerance in Canada. So there are different skills you required for parenting in this country. So that becomes part of your life skills. And our worker works closely with that particular client, and starting from child reading, and say they need more skills, how to enroll into the job market, or how to even create a happy, healthy environment at home. And all those life skills, once those are identified during the assessment, so our case manager take it one by one and develop the care plan and make sure the client is fully equipped with the skills they need to lead a happy, healthy life in Canada. Do you have resources you can share? Yes, we can definitely share resources. What we have done, we have prepared sessions on each life skills, and please provide your, Amanjeet, our contact information. Our
Yep.
attendee can definitely send us an email and we can share with you what we have prepared on life skills.
So just a correction on that phone number. It's 905-677-0889. And any inquiries about resources or any additional information, or if you'd like to connect, you can email info@pchsforyou.com and they'll connect you with the right person or with either one of us. Next question is, please explain about the peer support program for newcomers. So the peer support program for newcomers, that's under our community connections stream, and we call that the Newcomer Connections Program. There's two components to that program. One is the recruiting of participants and the recruiting of volunteers. So volunteers, the requirement is that either you're a Canadian citizen And we've sort of made it a requirement that if you are a newcomer that would like to volunteer as part of the program, that you have lived in Canada for about 5 years. And volunteers are go through again, they have to have their police clearance check. And then once they fill out their application and they've met with the coordinator will then schedule an interview with them and get an understanding of which areas a volunteer can provide help to newcomers. So in the past, to give an example, we've had individuals who are very strong at resume writing and helping individuals one write their resumes and conduct mock interviews with them. So we have a volunteer that can do that. Others are familiar with the school system within Peel, so they're able to support someone in that regards. With the participants, usually the referrals will come through our settlement counselors. So if a newcomer is accessing services through a counselor, as a part of the service delivery and near the end of the session, the settlement counselor will talk about the program and how they can connect them with a volunteer that can show them how to even navigate the transit system, apply for a health card, open up a bank account, access information around their neighborhood, schools. So these participants have that ability to connect with an individual and get that additional service in terms of easing their settlement. And one of the things that we've realized about this program is that it also helps a newcomer connect with an individual and develop an informal and a formal network. At the same time, we do provide our volunteers with a list of do's and don'ts in terms of what they are allowed to do as a volunteer and providing help to a participant. And at the same time, at any given time, a volunteer, similar to our peer support program, can be working with multiple participants. And we've been lucky this time around that we were able to take on an additional position. So we have two coordinators, one that is working on providing services to Brampton and Caledon, and the other one will be focused on Mississauga.
So I'm going to take on the next question, Amanji. It is about, in regards to your mental health services, do you wait for clients to approach you, or do you have a method by which you help clients recognize they could benefit from mental health support? This is a very good question, and the client engagement is the key, especially when they're suffering from mental health issues. We at PCHS, we actually use 4 different methods. The one, we have received referrals from various community-based agencies where they think their client needs linguistically and culturally appropriate service, and that PCHS provides. Second, we receive a number of calls from the family members where their loved one is suffering from mental health issues. Third, sometimes client approach us. And the fourth, when our case workers are working with the client under the integrated holistic service delivery model, they identify this client needs more than settlement. So there are 4 different ways for the client involvement we use. And the key component which we see is the success of PCHS always reaching to the clients and empowering clients to reach out for their mental health issues, that we have a 24/7 PCHS TV. And that's where we have educational components running on all the time in client's language. The languages which we deliver our TV program is Punjabi, Hindi, Urdu. Those clients can understand. Now we have introduced a new language, that's a Tamil. And we are working on more languages as well. We are blessed to have a staff who is so fluent. He has his MSW and fluent in Tamil as well. And he is helping us to develop those educational series on mental illness, how to empower, or help the client understand that it is time to seek professional help and it is okay to seek professional help. Mental health is also health. So that's our main component. So yes, sometimes the clients with mental health issues, they are very reluctant to seek help. But then we do not wait for the primary client to come to us. We start working with their family so that they can also observe the signs and symptoms and provide them the skills how to communicate with your loved one who is suffering from mental illness. The another key component which is helping us to serve the mental health, that every Saturday from 12 to 2 p.m., we are running a group program for people with concurrent disorders and their caregivers. So it is an open group program. When before COVID-19, we were even providing child minding on site who wants to attend those group programs. And it's about, again, life skills, the skills that are required to help you identify your mental health and addiction issues. Because mental health word has a stigma. Even if I translate in Punjabi, Hindi, Urdu languages, people are not comfortable even talking about it. So we give it different name, life skills. Amjit, what's the name of our concurrent disorder program? I think it's a wellness program now, we call it.
Yeah, we
right?
switched it to the wellness support program.
Right. Yeah. So wellness sport, because basically what our underlying items that we want to educate, raise awareness to our clients, that so that they feel comfortable. We don't name the group as mental health support group or something. We just name the group so that clients feel welcome and all that stuff. I think over the last, like I became involved with PCHS in 1994. It's been over 20 years. That's where PCHS has done an enormous amount of time to break those barriers, an enormous amount of work to break those barriers within the communities to seek help. And with all this, we did a pilot with Miss Saga Halton Lane funded us. Thanks for that. Meet me where I am. We even go to faith institutions with basically like the way a police officer without uniform. So that people don't feel stigmatized. Same thing we have done to work with the domestic violence, mental health, addiction, all those issues. It requires your policies, procedures, and buy-in at the management at the board level to help those clients. So I hope would have given bit of overview, and please feel free to ask or reach us out if you need more information on that. So we can move on to the next question, Amjit.
It's related to the life skills program. So how do you address it when clients need the program but don't want to participate?
Again, it's the client engagement is the key. So we have sport groups, and our sport groups run either late evening or over the weekend. And that's where, like, for example, we have a special program for women, which we started maybe 25 years ago. This program is running last Sunday of every month, 1 to 4 p.m. And that program for women, any woman can come. It doesn't mean that if you are suffering from those domestic violence issues or other issues, because the conflict, what I have seen over in my lifespan in Canada and working in this field, that the conflict is not husband-wife conflict. You need life skills, how to live with your mother-in-law in extended family system or with your sister-in-law, and no university curriculum covers that. So we keep it open. We have women who are business women and there are no financial difficulties. They drive like top of the line cars, they have everything, but they lack life skills. So we have removed that stigma that this is a relaxation group for women. And that's where we address those issues in a very informal, friendly environment. And we have from anywhere 15 to 30 women attend that group program. Due to COVID-19, we are now in the process of organizing this group via Zoom. Absolutely, it's very hard. Sometimes when you are juggling your paid job, your unpaid job at home, and on top you are struggling with those conflicts or other family challenges, it's hard to come out. But we create conditions, and again, the accessibility to services is the key. So you make your services available in such a way, not only by naming them, but by timings as well, where your clients are. And there are times when we work with the clients who are vulnerable clients when they are doing grocery shopping. Like I personally have done that several sessions in no frills because the participant cannot come out for X number of reasons. So I have done several sessions in the medical doctor offices because that's the only place women can go for a checkup or for medical care. She's not allowed to go anywhere else. Or meeting her in the parking lot of her workplace, even for 15 minutes. That's the only place she can go. So again, it all depends. It's all if the engagement of the client, to what extent you go. And sometimes I still remember helping a woman who my husband works night shift. He leaves home at 11 p.m. Can we have a phone call at 11:15 p.m.? That's the only time I will have a safe time where you can give me life skills. How can I deal with life's challenges? Like I'm speaking from experience that it's not in my university degrees or all those stuff. It depends how much resources and flexibility your organization is providing you. Liability insurance is the key as well. Like taking all those Canadian systems, Canadian requirements into consideration and helping the clients and meeting the clients where they are. I can say with conviction that there is nothing in this world. If you are in a healthcare profession and you want to help your client and you are determined to help the client, your organization providing you the flexibility, your policies and procedures are reflecting all those, you are covered in all areas, because liability is a big thing. I can tell you, you can help that particular clients. It comes from within you, building your rapport with the client. Thank you.
Just wanted to add, with that meet me where I am approach, we've also, for our settlement services, we've partnered with the local food banks so that when clients are accessing the food banks, we also have our settlement counselors or our crisis support workers at the food banks to provide information and access. And I mean, it's not a question. It's the individual just wants to say how impressed they are by the services that we provide.
Oh, thank you so much. It's our pleasure, and thank you for this platform. And first of all, I thank all the participants for taking time, listening to us, asking us questions. PCHS very happy and pleased to share the learning. Our CEO actually believes in sharing and spreading the word. He is the another thing I like to let the participants know. We have our YouTube channel. If your clients that you are serving and speak Punjabi, Hindi, and Urdu languages, and they need help on anything, please add Baldev Mutta, Baldev, and last name is Mutta. You will see hundreds of sessions in a linguistic and cultural component. Even a simple session, how to solve a problem. Right, so there is a session on what next, and it's 1 hour discussion on YouTube. So we get across the world now hits on our sessions. Amanjit, you can speak, you are lead on the social media, that how accessible our services are now via social media. And thank you very much. Next, Amanjit, you can.
Yep. And another comment that this has been an excellent session. You're a very comprehensive suite of services and are very informative. I'm taking away some good ideas today from my organization. And we're glad that we could give you some ideas to take away. And again, the contact information's been updated so that if you need to get direct hold of myself, I can again connect you with the right resources at the agency, as well as provide any information that you might need. Just to touch on what Amandeep had just said, social media has also been a huge tool for us in client engagement. As she mentioned, that we do produce videos and we put them on, we share them through Facebook mainly. Through Facebook, we receive a lot of private messages seeking help or advice, and then we're able to start the dialogue over social media, and then transition an individual to a counselor to seek help. We've been engaging clients over Instagram a lot more. Again, they'll send us a private message based off of a post we've put up or information that we've shared. And it starts that information sharing piece with them, which eases them into accessing support and services. And so I encourage, if your agencies and organizations haven't started using social media to that capacity, to look into it. It definitely helps with clients putting their foot in the door and starting that process of seeking help. Okay. I believe we have about 10 more minutes. So if there's any other questions or comments that anyone has, please feel free to put them in the Q&A.
If no more questions, Amanjeet, we can give our participants 10 minutes in their time back.
Yep. Okay. So thank you again, everyone, for attending. And if you have any questions that you might think of beyond the session, then please reach out to us and we can definitely answer them for you. I think one just came in. Oh, that's just another thank you. Again, thank you as well. So yeah, please reach out if you come up with any questions or if you need any more information. And thank you for attending.
And thank you for the AV services as well. It went very smoothly. Really appreciate Ash.
All right, everyone. Take care.